The car was leased. The apartment was co-signed by his parents, who he'd told her were estranged. The watches were from a luxury rental service. The vacations were on cards so maxed out that the interest payments were becoming their own financial emergency. She found out all at once when the construction stopped being sustainable. She met him in an industry event, and he presented exactly as someone successful. Nice car in the parking lot, sharp clothes, confident in conversation about money and business. She wasn't looking for wealth, but she also wasn't looking for someone in serious financial distress who was performing stability. She dated the performance without knowing that's what it was. The cracks were subtle. He never let her pay, even when money was visibly tight in a given month. He was evasive about specifics, talked about business broadly, but never in detail. His phone lit up frequently with numbers she associated with bill collectors, though he dismissed them quickly. She noted these things and cataloged them as vague unease rather than red flags she acted on. For she found a bank statement on the printer at his place. Left there by accident. He'd been printing something and walked away. The balance was $412. She'd been in a relationship with someone she understood to clear 6 figures annually. $412. She folded it, put it in her pocket, and didn't say a word for 3 weeks. She went looking. Not invasively at first, just publicly available information. Business registry searches. Credit report requests that he'd mentioned casually, which she now understood meant they'd been pulled by lenders recently. A LinkedIn that showed no actual employment at the companies he'd named. He was listed as a contractor, not an employee, which explained the income gaps. The picture that assembled was of someone who had maintained an expensive image on an unstable income foundation for years. The collapse came when his car was repossessed. It happened while they were out together. They came back to the parking lot, and the car was gone. He tried to say it had been towed. She watched his face as he said it. She said it wasn't towed. He said nothing for a long time, and she understood that the conversation they'd been building toward for 3 weeks was happening now, in a parking lot, under fluorescent lights. In the hour that followed, he told her everything. The leased car, the rental watches, his parents' names on his apartment lease, parents he described as out of his life but had clearly been financially supporting him throughout. The business that had folded 3 years ago that he was still describing as active. He didn't frame it as deception. He said he'd been in a shame spiral and couldn't find a way to tell the truth once the lie had started. She said, "That's not an explanation. That's a description of what you did." She didn't immediately leave. She's been honest about that. She stayed for another 2 months, trying to separate the person from the performance. In the end, she concluded they weren't separable. The performance had been the relationship. Every conversation about the future had been built on a false financial premise. She couldn't retroactively rebuild it on truth. She now asked specific, direct questions about money early in any relationship. Not in an invasive way, just real questions. What kind of work do you do? Do you own or rent? Are you comfortable financially? Most people answer honestly. The ones who get defensive or evasive at basic questions have given her all the information she needs. Is performing financial stability in a relationship a form of fraud or just insecurity? Tell me what you think.